Welcome to the show, come on in, take a seat, turn it up a little louder, feel the rhythm, feel the beat. Stories, laughs, and moments you don't wanna miss. From the first hello to the final twist. So hit play, let it roll, let the good times flow. This is where it all begins. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Today, I found something very interesting. So let me turn the camera on here and let me show you what I found. I don't know if that logo, does that logo come across? Maybe not, because I'm in the dark. Hold on, let me turn on the light. Does this logo come across anything? Subway. Now, yes, I worked at Subway. And I'm here to talk about that job, because that job was interesting. So let me talk about that job for a minute. Now, obviously, yes, I worked at Subway. I think around my sophomore year, I got a job at Subway, and for the time being, like, it was a cool job. I've always wanted to work, somewhere. And I think when I was 16, when I finally turned 16, I got a job at Subway. Well, I applied for a job at Subway. I didn't get to work like right away. I had to bring in like multiple things. I had to get an ID. And I'm here to talk about the steps and what happened in the time that I got, the job. So buckle in, because this one's gonna be a weird one. So, when I applied, and I kind of applied because I wanted to work somewhere, make a little bit of money. Um, just give me my money. Anyway, um, but when I applied, I didn't know I had to keep calling and calling and calling the people to set up an interview. So I set up an interview. So I called and I called and I kept calling, and I eventually I reached someone who was able to give me the manager's phone number. And then the next day, I called the manager and I was like, "Hey, I want to set up an interview and whatnot." And she was like really cool about it. She was really cool, and she was like, "All right, we'll set up an interview this day." And so I had that time to prepare, because she was gonna look over my application. So she basically gave me my application, and or no, she reviewed my application, and then she was like, "Hey, come on in. It's time for the interview or whatever." Because I think she called me back and was like, "Hey, you want to set up the interview today or something like that? Because I'm in the restaurant this time, whatever." And so I was like, "Okay." So I got dressed as best as I could, and we set up the interview. Now, I don't know if she hired me on. I don't think. I think she was like, "Hey, you need to get these things before I actually consider hiring you, because I need to see these things." So, and what I think I needed an ID and a copy of my birth certificate or something. I think it was Social Security or something like that. And I remember going in with those documentations, because there was also deposit slip information, so she could put the money in my account when I did a job. So um, I remember one day I came in, and I think that was the first time I ever worked. They showed me how to uh, cut bread. They showed me, just normal stuff. Um, and I learned how to use a toaster, the toaster oven thing that they had, and yeah, it was really easy, at first, until you have like 16,000 customers coming in, but that's normal. And I remember I had one coworker, she was really cool. And when the like boss leave me with just her, it was kind of. Can you shut up, please? I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry about that. But yeah, she basically sometimes I'd get left alone with this coworker of mine. She was kind of cool. I don't know if she still works at that particular Subway that I worked at, but I'm gonna leave. I'm not gonna leave her name. I'm not gonna leave anybody's name in this. So I mean, this is just a simple podcast with just me. So I got the interview, and I think I don't know if I asked if I could. I think I asked during the interview. I was like, "Hey, can I wear like sweatpants?" And I think she said, "Yeah, as long as they're like black sweatpants," because they wanted like because I had a black shirt. I don't know where my black Subway shirt is. I have the hat. I have the hat here, but I also have the name badge still. It's on a backpack, so let me go grab that bag and show you the name thing. I will take the microphone with me because, you know. Um so yeah, I still have the name badge. Um because obviously, you know, proof that I work proof that I work at Subway has my name badge. This is like really worn, so it probably doesn't come across very well, but there's the name badge. So yeah, also you are clipped right here. Anyway, so yeah, I was able to, start working, and they, like I said, they showed me how to cut bread and whatever. I did watch. Here's the thing: when I went in for my training, it was like more. It was more of like a training kind of thing. So it was like you go in the back, you do like uh you do like a you do like you watch the training videos. They give you like questions that you can like use to review. I don't think you have to do them. Maybe you do. And mind you, I was in this office when I was watching these training videos. This like little office room, and I remember there was like a wall next to me, and I was sitting at this small desk. Um, and there was a door on my left side, and the door went out and to the right or to the left. Now the left was just the ice machine, the right was like out, and then there was like a pillar in the middle where you had to walk around. I don't know why it was there, just for looks, I guess. But I remember there was a table near it and whatnot, and I do remember going in and like I do remember going in and watching these training videos, and I don't know. I don't question. Don't quote me on this. I think there were questions, like I said, and I think I did the questions obviously because wanted to do my best on the training stuff and whatnot, and I learned how to wrap a Subway sandwich. I'm you know so yeah. Now I did cut myself on a bread knife, and here's how this happened. So it was one night I'm working. Oh, hold on. Before I tell you, after the training videos, I just forgot about this. After I learned the training videos, they were like, "All right, now that you're done with that, you can learn." Because I thought I was just gonna learn how to do things and go home. But they taught me how to do like the bread and stuff. They showed me around. I think I remember this. I think I remember this because I was very scared of getting stuck in the freezer. I was very scared of getting stuck in the freezer. But they told me I think they told me I didn't have anything to worry about because there was like a latch, but I didn't see the latch on the inside, so I was very scared. So I kept the door open when I could, so I didn't get stuck in the freezer. But yeah. Now there were okay, so when you enter the freezer, there's a door. When you enter the freezer, it's like this little square box room. It's very cold. And then there's a room. In this one, there was a room on the left, which was also had a door. Now this was another like smaller room that was also it was also lit, and I don't think that one had a latch. So if you got stuck in that, I think you were just screwed. But yeah, I walked into the freezer and I asked them. I was like, "Yo, has anyone ever gotten stuck in the freezer?" But apparently no, no one has gotten stuck in the freezer. Um, but yeah, I was very scared of getting stuck in the freezer because I was like, "What if I can't get out?" You know. And since the freezers are usually metal doors, would anyone hear me banging and screaming to get out? I'm lucky I didn't get stuck in the freezer. So that's good. But I mean, it's lucky that I didn't get stuck in the freezer, but whatever. So, I do remember having to go. I did go in there one time alone, but I only had to, yeah. They made me um there was one time that um there was one time that I cut bread. I didn't put on gloves. That was one of the things that they nitpicked about that was I forgot to put on gloves. They didn't tell me. I think they were just watching over when I was cutting the bread. And yeah, I did cut the bread properly, but I had to redo it cuz they wanted me to cut the bread properly with gloves. So I forgot to put on the gloves, and after I cut the bread without the gloves, they told me, "Hey, you should have put on gloves to cut the bread." I forgot. Um, and this was all in the training kind of thing. So, and then I think we had a customer come in, and I think that was what it was. I was very nervous about this because I had to listen. I had to remember what they said, and if, and obviously I wanted to hear everything the first time. But sometimes, because I'm autistic, my brain doesn't listen most of the time. Yeah, and I had someone repeat what they said, their order back to me. I was like, "Hey, did you need this, this, and this?" They they're very cool about it. The customer was very cool about it. But yeah. Um Another thing is that I um I cut myself on a bread knife. Oh, and before I get to that section of the thing, before I get to that section of the story, I just want to I just want to say they had one time, I don't remember what this was either. But I remember they made me like shred up with my hands this like this like meat, um, like shredded. I think it was shredded chicken is what it was, and they made me like pull it apart and stuff with my hands. They didn't have like a shredder or anything, not with my bare hands, obviously with gloves, but they made me like tear it apart. Which I think I remember that very vividly, but I don't know if it was actually in the package or not. Then again, I don't really remember. Now, the bread knife thing. So, I was nervous. We had 4 or 5 customers in the store, right? It was a random night. I was working with my coworker, the girl that I said was cool. I was working with her, and there were these like two cops came in, and like 3 other people were in the store. And I did see the cops the same night. They were over at a gas station near me, and apparently someone broke into whatever. Anyway, so I got this like, so I took the orders, right? I took the orders and I cut the knife. I cut the bread open, and I think one point I dropped it near my shirt, and it kind of cut me on my stomach. Um, Now I don't know if I still have this. I don't think I have the scar anymore. I might have the scar. I don't know. Um, Scars of war. No, but I got the scar, right, and it was inch because I never had cut myself on a bread knife, before, or any tool, with any tool, you know. I never had cut myself with any tool, So it was very odd that I did this. But yeah. So I cut myself with the bread knife. Um and got when I got the when the bread knife was, yeah, because I told my coworker, I was like, hey, I got myself a bread knife. She was like, I didn't, I think I told her, but I was rushing to get these orders in because we had stuff in the toaster oven. Um, we had stuff in the toaster oven, obviously, and I kind of cut myself, and I think we were rushing to do the stuff and whatnot. But we got the orders. I think we took a breath in like the back area to relax, just calm down, and then the fire alarm. And no, I'm just kidding. I'm trying to like amp up the story. We had a breath. We just had a breath of, you know. And then I think I told her afterwards. I was like, yeah, I cut myself with a bread knife on my stomach. And she was like, okay, well, whatever. I did cut myself with a bread knife. That's no joke. But yeah, I did tell her afterwards. I was like, hey, yo, I cut myself with a bread knife. I think she thought I cut myself with like my hand, and that's why she was like, hey, let me see, But no, I never cut myself in the hands with a bread knife. I just cut myself on the stomach while I was cutting bread, mind you. Um, I do remember. I do remember one time, like, I remember there was one story where I was working, and there was this kid, right? Now, usually when kids fall down, it's funny. This was not funny. This this traumatized me. So I was filling up we were doing like an ice machine kind of thing. And there was this woman and another woman, and they had like this kid, right? He was like, I don't know, about probably up to my knee is how like tall he was. Probably up to my knee at the time. And that's how tall he was. He was up to my knee. He was up to my knee. And while I'm walking back to get the ice, from, because we were like, hey, we need. They took the ladder, the little step ladder up to the ice machine. We had to like look how much ice is in there. I was like, okay, we need this much ice. Well, when we went back, I the kid was running by me. I'm guessing to get to who his mother was, and the kid, I guess, went in my way, and I kind of kicked him a little bit by accident, and he fell, or maybe I tripped him by accident. I don't remember, but I remember almost crying right there because it scared me so bad. Because I'd never had anything like that happen before to me, whenever I'd never accidentally, almost I never accidentally almost hurt a kid, So this was a very scary thing to me when I did this. So I apologize profusely for this, but deep down I kind of never forgot about this. Um, and I, we filled up the mice machine. They were like, hey, you all right? My coworker was like, hey, you all right? If you need to take a breather, you can, whatever. Um, and I think it was a kind of rainy that day, because I remember it was a bit rainy when I walked into work, and I had to go out, take the boxes out, whatnot. It was cloudy. I remember that. So perfect day for me to go outside, take a little, one of these, just a small breather. And that was nice. I liked that. That was good. Now it's time for a sponsor. We are sponsored by Cozy Threads. I do this every video. We're sponsored by Cozy Threads. Um, she's made she's made this she's made this bracelet, crocheted this bracelet for me, and this ring. Um, Obviously, go to Cozy Threads on Discord in the link in the description and use code OPEN20. It seems redundant. I've said this every episode. Um, but yeah, go down the link in the description to Cozy Threads on Discord and use my code OPEN20 to 20% off. Get 20% off your first order. And back to the story. But yeah, um, but, but yeah, it was. I can't. The Cozy Thread sponsor. Anyway, but yeah, it really scared me. So, um, I remember one time there was one online order to, like, there was one that, because we in my store we had like this rack, like this shelf that was like labeled. So it was like A to C, D to F, so on and so forth down the shelf, all the way until we got to Z. And I remember there was one sitting on, I think, the second shelf, and it just sat there for a while. No one came to pick it up, nothing. I don't know whatever happened to that sandwich. It was not there when I went into work the next day. So I don't know if someone took it when I left, or if came someone got it and took it somewhere. I don't know what happened to it. Maybe someone came and got it. I don't know. I don't know if someone ever came and got it actually while I was in the store. But then again, I don't remember. So yeah, that was, a little bit interesting. Um and then there was, you know, it was really weird because I asked him, I was like, is there anything that they played on the radio that has gotten like stuck in your head? And I don't know what like that you think. I don't remember if I asked that. I think we were just trying to pass the time. Um, but I do remember that there was. I do remember one time answering the phone. I do remember answering the phone. I do remember that, like answering the mobile order. But I don't remember what it was. Um, so yeah. I do remember one worker came in one time, and I do remember wearing this worker, like or meeting wearing this worker. I do remember meeting this coworker. I think I only worked with her a couple of times, but she was chill. Her name, I'm not gonna say her actual name, so we'll call her did we'll we'll call her Becky. All right. And Becky was 19, she was pregnant. And I do remember asking her, like asking my boss to cuz I knew cuz I don't know why I did this. I asked my boss to cut my paycheck in half and give half to her. I was I don't know why I was being nice about it, you know, but I was. Um I kind of liked Becky. She was nice. She was chill. I do remember she would work. I was mopping the floor while um she did the orders and stuff. Um, I do remember that I was sitting. So in the restaurant, beside the freezer door, there's like a little bit of wall, and then there's a chair with a table. And most people sit at that chair and eat lunch. And there's only one chair. There's only one chair. Some people eat lunch. I saw them make nuggets on that table once. And I used to sit at that table because, sometimes my feet would hurt. I don't know why my feet would hurt, but they would. I didn't like standing very much. But now it doesn't bother me. Now this all leads up to the time that I got fired. Now, I believe it was 2 weeks in to my shift. And this girl at school, who I'm not going to name, I know who you are. I'm still mad at you for this. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm not mad at her. Okay, whatever. Maybe I'm a little mad. No, no, I'm not mad at all. Maybe I'm a little mad. I don't know. I don't know. Hold on. Maybe I'm a little mad. I don't remember. No, I'm not mad at all. I'm just joking. Trying to really drag on this episode. Anyway, I look totally lost what I was saying. Oh, this girl. So this girl like said something about like a date before, and it was during like this all student congress thing that we basically got we basically got this thing, right, happened where we were doing like a thing for like we were doing like a thing for like so basically you could like if you're in like a certain thing you could make like things to you can make like posters and stuff and whatnot. And there was like a protest group. I was in media staff. There was like representatives, Senate, whatever. You can make bills and they'd have to pass both the Senate and the Congress, and then they have to make their way up to the president, which was the principal. And I do remember making this, like, I do remember, like, this. I saw this girl because she asked me out, like, before this even happened, and then she asked me. She was like, "Do you have a girlfriend?" I was like, "No." She was like, "Well, maybe I could be your girlfriend. You want to go on a date with me?" And I was like, "I don't know." Well, what? Well, I saw this girl walking down the hall during this all student congress, and I was like, is I was like, "Yo, is that date proposal still up on the table?" I think she said yes, it was. I was like, "All right, cool. Give me your number." I think we exchanged numbers there. And then I went into the office where the secretary was working. I was like, "Yo, can I make a like a call or text someone?" And then I remembered, I was like, "Hey, I'm going to I'm going to text my boss. I'm going to ask, for a day off when this like Saturday." And while I was doing it, I was like, "Hey, this would be probably a good idea." Well, they did not tell me that I was in a 30 to 92 day range where I could not ask for a day off. They did not tell me. It was not in like a manual. It was not, no. So so I got fired for it. I got fired for it. Well, she said she would let me go until next year, until the summer of the next year. So, I had to wait 2 summers to get my job back. And remember, this was in like 23. This was in 23 when this happened. So when this happened and you know, I got fired, I was kind of bummed out about it, because I just lost my job. And the girl that gave me her number wasn't answering her phone. So I was also kind of bummed out about that. Well, then we got to talking that same year, after the fact, and she gave me her number, and then I was like, "Hey, where do you want to go eat, for dinner and whatnot, for the dinner date and whatnot." And while I was on the bus, she texted me. She was like, "Hey, I already have a boyfriend." Why the fuck would you ask me out then, bitch? Well, I shouldn't call her bitch, but whatever. It's like, why the fuck would she ask me out? Huh? It doesn't make any plausible sense why she would ask me out if she already had a boyfriend. So clearly, I was mad about that. I'm still kind of, I'm, I'm not mad about it anymore, but I was mad about it at the time. But yeah, it just kind of was like, well, if you already have a boyfriend, why the fuck ask me out, huh? That could be counted as cheating, In their eyes, that could be counted as cheating. So, of course, you know, whatever. It's fine. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it sucks. But, whatever. And I have not worked at Subway in, well, I haven't worked at that Subway at all, because I'm pretty sure the district manager who owns this, there's two Subways in that. I think two or three Subways in that town. And I think the district manager, like, frequently visits both of them. She visited mine like twice, and she knows me. So if I try to work at that Subway again, the like the district manager will probably know me at that point. Um, so that's not good. but that's not good, so I'm just not gonna work there. But I have a new job thing planned, so that's gonna be, yeah. So, but yeah, it kind of sucks that I asked for a day off and they didn't tell me. But I think it was more my fault because it was only like I was only 2 weeks into the job when I lost it. So so if the person who cost me my job does end up watching this, which she probably won't, but if she is, hi. um anyway, but if she, I know she's probably not, but if somehow this video gets to her, hello, hi, how you doing? Um, but yeah, I mean, oh, and I think there was I think my friend told me, like, asked me, because he was in the Odd Ones Out, and I think he did ask me. He was like, "Hey, it was either what's the easiest or what's the hardest cheese." I don't remember what it was, what the video was actually about. But I remember he was talking about Subway, and I think he was like, "This is the easiest or hardest cheese to pull apart with gloves." Anyway, and I was like, "Yes, yes, it is." I did answer yes, 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 it is. Whatever cheese it is to pull apart with gloves, hardest or easiest, I don't know. I don't remember what it was now, but it was because it was a long time ago. But yeah, it, it is, that is true. What the Odd Ones Out is saying, it is, yes, it is. Watch the Odd Ones Out. You'll know what cheese I'm talking about. I don't remember. I'd have to watch the video and I'd have to surf through content. Now, obviously, I can make this episode a lot longer by looking up that video and watching it right here and now. The problem is I don't want to get copyrighted for using someone else's content, so I'm not gonna do that. But I just want it to be known that that I could watch it. But yeah. Also, I'm realizing two of these episodes that I've made, the last two episodes that I made, have been like under 30 minutes. Um, most of my episodes are 40 minutes, and I've realized that. It's like I try to drag them out to 40 minutes. If anybody's curious, I try to drag them out to 40 minutes. The thing is, if I can't get them to 40 minutes, it's not. It's technically, it's because I just don't have. I run out of like story, or I run out of information, or whatever, and that kind of sucks, But honestly, I'm not making any. I'm not making any money from this podcast, so. But yeah. So, like I said, go to Cozy Threads on Discord, and they'll link the description below, and use code OPEN20 to get 20% off your first order. So that's it for this episode. I will see you guys in the next episode until season 2. Because I got some good stories planned before season 2. Um, which the trailer for season 2 will come out on August either 5th, it's either the 12th or the 15th. I think it's the 12th. So yeah, when that comes out this year, go watch it. I have some good stuff planned for that episode. Um and it's, you know, I obviously have the cover for it. The thing is, I've already thought of the third season banner. Um, yeah, and the third season is gonna come maybe late 2027, early 2028. You never know. I mean, so yeah. I want to push for like a mid 2026 for season 2, but it never happens. It's interesting because it's been like 3 months, almost 3 months, since I posted the first episode of the podcast, because I posted it back in December, somewhere around here. I remember, I think December 18th. It was probably not 18th. It was probably maybe it was like early on maybe it was here. Maybe it was the 8th. I don't know. All I know is that I'm going to end this episode here because I kind of want to get bed. It's 4:30 in the morning and everyone else, my dad's asleep. I should be asleep, but I'm not. I'm making this episode, am I not? So I'm gonna go get some sleep, and I will see you guys all in the next episode. Yeah. Alright. Good night, guys. Yeah, like I said, go to Cozy Threads in Discord and in the link in the description, and use code OPEN20 to get 20% off your first order. Alright. See you guys. Peace. Bye.